Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you for attending the webinar on e-commerce in Russia, beauty and wellness, organized by the Victoria State Government together with Schneider Group. My name is Lamia Damerji and I'm the Regional Business Development Manager at the Victoria Trade and Investment Office in Dubai. Some housekeeping rules to be aware of, please. Mute your microphones and please switch off your cameras to ensure smooth quality of the webinar today. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, which will be answered at the end of the webinar. Please note that this webinar is recorded and we will share the presentation with you after the session, and it will also be available on the Global Victoria site. Now, without further delay, allow me to pass over the word to Mr. Qasim Younis, the General Manager of the Victoria Government Trade and Investment Office, for the official welcome.
Thank you, Lamia. Good morning to our guest speakers in Moscow, Russia, and good afternoon to all our participants, Victorian companies who are joining this webinar today. Really, we appreciate your time for making the time. I understand there's a time zone difference between 7 hours and 8 hours. Myself and Lamia are based here in Dubai. As Lamia has mentioned, the Victorian Government Trade and Investment Office in Dubai covers the Middle East, Africa, Turkey, Russia, and CIS countries. As part of the Global Victoria's international programs and initiatives, we are hosting this webinar on the e-commerce market in Russia with a focus on beauty, wellness, and personal care in partnership with Schneider Group and their associates. Lamia is the main contact as a regional business development manager should you want to follow up on any business opportunity in this sector in our region. As you all know, our participants, Australia and particularly Melbourne has a world-class brand in this category. In 2020, the value of Australian beauty, wellness, and personal care exports stood at 2.2 billion Australian dollars. Australia exports to 144 countries, while the value of Victorian beauty, wellness, and personal care products in 2020 stood at around 684 million Australian dollars, with the Victorian companies exporting to 96 countries. Victoria Beauty and Wellness and Personal Care export grew 39% between 2015 and 2019. That's significant growth over this period. I would like to give you a quick snapshot on the bilateral trade between the state of Victoria and Russia. In 2020 and 2021, the Victorian exports to Russia were worth around 40 million Australian dollars, with 90% of exports being manufactured goods, where 10% of the export belonged to the beauty and wellness products, worth around 4.2 million Australian dollars. Over the past three years, Victorian perfume and cosmetic export to Russia have grown by 71%. That's significant growth over the past 3 years. This is maybe not an accurate figures that shows the bilateral trade between Australia and Russia, because a lot of products are exported into Europe or other markets in the Middle East, and those products are finding their way against as re-export into Russian market and surrounding countries. We have noticed there's a lot of world-class brands from Melbourne. They've been exporting their products to Holland or to the UK or France, and we have seen these products are being shipped by trucks or maybe by sea freight into Russian market. So I believe there's more to do and more available of Victorian products into Russian market, and hopefully we can help you to grow this your market internationally. The e-commerce market in Russia is rapidly growing, spurred on by the COVID-19 pandemic. Russia is the 12th largest market for e-commerce with a revenue of $26 billion in 2020. It's ahead of this e-commerce market is ahead of Spain and behind Indonesia with an increase of 31%. Russia, like the Middle East, their e-commerce market contributed to the worldwide growth rate of 29% in 2020. The Middle East and Russia actually had the highest growth in e-commerce among other countries in the world, even ahead of China. I think China last year was around 14%, but we have seen Russia, like the Middle East, they're above 25% growth. And it's expected to, the volume of Russian e-commerce will keep growing at a double-digit pace due to social media driving purchasing habits, maturity of logistic process, increase in service quality, percentage of online buyers, popularization of mobile e-commerce, and improvement of interaction between marketplace and producers. Without further ado, I would like to thank our speakers for making the time today, and I would like to introduce Schneider Group, who've been our partners for the past years, and we'll continue to work with them on numerous topics, including the e-commerce market in Russia. Schneider Group, with their 500 employees across Russia and the surrounded countries, including the CIS, provide market entry advisory services, back office services to any company who wants to set up in Moscow or Russia. And also they provide accounting and tax consultation and many other services to support any businesses coming into Russia. And we are really proud to and honored to work with them as well, because they are very supportive and keen to work with us, support Victorian companies who wants to expand in the market. We have great speakers today. I hope you will enjoy the session. It's 60 minutes session, and I would like to introduce briefly the speakers. And first one is Christopher Shagel, and he's the director of Schneider Group. Christopher will today cover the online sales of beauty and wellness products in Russia. The following speaker will be Anastasia Kostyukovskaya. She also, a colleague of Christopher, and she will be talking about import of beauty products and food supplements into Russia. Followed by Katerina Gorbatkova. She's co-founder and head digital department of Explore Est. She will talk about the marketing, wellness, and beauty products online in Russia. Followed by Daniil Koroko. He's a senior legal expert at Schneider Group. He will be talking about legal aspects of interaction with Russian e-commerce platforms. And Alexander Kalyagin is key account manager for Intercham, who would like to give you an overview of their beauty and cosmetic exhibition and conference that goes annually into Moscow. I hope you will enjoy the session today, and we're looking forward to support you and into the market. Thank you very much. Over to you, Christopher.
Thank you, Kassem, for the kind introduction, and good afternoon to everybody in Australia. Good morning to those of you who are in Moscow today. I hope you can see the slides. I believe yes. So today, as Kassem already mentioned, we speak about the Russian e-commerce market, in particular focusing on the beauty industry. And my colleagues also later on will focus a little bit on the technical areas, how the Victorian companies can export to the country and can participate in the market. When we speak about the e-commerce market, when we speak about the beauty industry in Russia, we should always keep in mind that it's actually a market of a value of $5 billion. COVID facilitated the trend towards wellness and self-care to compensate for the hardships we had during the lockdown. The lockdown actually was quite short in Russia, but the impact on the market was quite severe. Before the pandemic, only 25% of the Russian customers, well, in our presentation, the women aged between 18 and 40 years had a preference to buy beauty products online. During 2020, about 70% of this age group in Russia have purchased cosmetics online during the lockdown, and 70% of them are planning to keep going so in the future. In 2020, the beauty-related shops received about 160% more orders than the year before. The value of online sales in the sector grew by 99%, and the share of the e-shops on the beauty and the beauty market amounted to 10% based on the number of orders and about 4% in the number of sales in ruble. When we take a closer look on the statistics, we see that the skin and personal care products make the largest segment of the Russian cosmetic market. Even though hair care products made up the largest revenue share, face skincare products have been reporting the highest average revenue per capita in the segment year over year. Eyelash mascara was the favorite product in the category for decorative cosmetics. However, a general reduction in the usage of the most decorative cosmetics was reported since we had the beginning of the pandemic due to the remote work and the fewer options and opportunities to go outside for outside entertainment. Revenues set again to grow again in the fragrance market in the coming years after the significant drop which we had in 2020. So the people again are more in the office, they are going out, and the sector should have a huge and good rebound in the future. Pharmaceutical cosmetics is another important pillar of the market, with face skincare remedies being the most demanded product in 2020. In the premium segment of pharmaceutical cosmetic brands, Russian customers favored the most the L'Oréal Group's La Roche shop in the market. When we take a look on the development of the marketplaces, so the platforms for beauty products, we see a quite diversified picture. Many marketplaces tend to focus a lot on beauty and wellness segments. Platforms such as Wildberries, Ozon, La Moda, Yandex Market or Peru have been developed this segment actively for the last time. So Ozon, for example, the beauty and health products category was among the ones with the fastest growth into 2019, when it grew 265% compared to 2018. So even before the pandemic and before the lockdown, there was a huge boom already starting. In April 2020, Wildberries sales of beauty products grew about 300% to compare to April 2019. So this is already in the pandemic. I think we will not speak too much about the general platforms, as it would take quite some time, but in case you have any questions to them, let us know during the Q&A session or then after the webinar in a follow-up. Quite briefly to some of the e-platforms selling beauty and wellness products. Largest among them in the terms of online sales in ruble is apteker.ru or apteker.ru. You can choose them from about 25,000 different products covering pharmaceuticals and beauty and wellness products. They usually deliver to many of the pickup points, which are especially in pharmacies. Letou.ru from L'Etoile is focused on perfume and cosmetics. They are allowing, for example, to follow up also the latest trends. They have a lot of videos, photos on their website, and the choice is quite fantastic. eApteker.ru, well, again, apteka, this word, it's the Russian word for pharmacy, so even learn a little bit Russian here today. Well, they are focusing on the products for beauty and in skincare, and they were one of the first providers with an app for online orders, and now they have an offer of more than 70,000 products, an express delivery option within Moscow within 1 hour, for example. Goldapple.ru, maybe the last one which we are now speaking about today, has a tremendous growth and offers more than 1,000 brands. They focus not only on the perfume, cosmetics, but also on home accessories, technology, exclusive brands and decoration and so on. So a little bit of a different focus than the other ones. So if we take a look on the numbers, we anyway see that it's quite fantastic growth, but I believe my colleagues in the next presentations will cover it a little bit in more detail. Just a few other numbers which we just got yesterday in the evening. So when we take a look on the geographics of the stores, 70% of all the e-commerce deliveries happens in Moscow and the Moscow region. So this is actually the largest area. And the delivery methods from the online platforms, like all of them are offering couriers, like directly to you to the home. 95% of the online stores offer a pickup solution, and even almost 90% offering also the delivery by the Russian post. And some of them have even lockers where you can get them securely. And 42% of the cosmetics online stores use all those 4 options which I just mentioned. Here we see also a little bit the largest market on the largest players on the market, which is like Wildberries or Ozon, L'Etoile, as we already have explained. So I think this is for the introduction, the first few information, and my colleague Anastasia will now explain how it's possible for an Australian company exporting to Russia and participating in the e-commerce market, and in particular with the beauty and wellness products. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Christopher. Good afternoon, dear partners. So let me share my screen. Just a second. Yeah, okay. So I hope everyone can see my presentation. So I will tell you about the specifics of import and certification of beauty products and food supplements. to Russia. And the general approach is that you need to have a legal entity that will act as an importer. And by the way, Schneider Group can act both as importer and the applicant for certification purposes. The main condition of successful import of the products to Russia in particular and to the territory of Eurasian Economic Union is the availability of correct permissive documents. And I would like to stress that actually documents that are valid in Australia, even if they correspond to international standards like ISO, cannot be used in Eurasian Economic Union, though the documents in Russia and EU, actually the basis for them are international practice and standards. There are totally 5 member states of the EU, and you can apply for the permissive document and certificates in any of these member states, and the documents will be equally valid for import in any of these countries. However, we would recommend you to apply for certificates in Russia if you are going to import the product to Russian market. We had a case in our practice when the company applied for a certificate in Kazakhstan, but then they had some troubles using this document for certain markets in Russia because the area of use was not explicit enough. So actually, the costs of certification, of application for certificates in Russia is, these costs are higher. But in general, the control is stricter, requirements are higher, and as a result, you will face less potential problems when importing your products. And in general, there is certification can be mandatory and non-mandatory. As for mandatory certification, it covers requirements for safety of the products, and as for the non-mandatory, it is more about the quality of the product, but we will concentrate further more on mandatory certification. And there are 3 types of documents that confirm the compliance with the technical requirements in Russia and EU. These are certificate of state registration, certificate of conformity, and declaration of conformity. And as you can see on these diagrams, we can say that the declaration of conformity covers the largest range of goods, and it takes in general less time and money to apply for this document in comparison to other types of confirmation documents. As for the cosmetics market in general, for food supplements and cosmetics that will be used by children, you will need to apply for such a document as certificate of state registration. But in general, for most beauty products, you need a declaration of conformity. That is why further in my presentation, I will concentrate more on this type of document, on the declaration. And another important point in this topic is who can be the applicant for certification documents. It could be either an individual entrepreneur or it could be a legal entity. In general, it is a Russian resident that is at the same time authorized representative of the manufacturer who acts on the basis of a special agreement of authorized representative. There could be several applicants for the declaration of conformity, and at the same time, the applicant can pass the document to the company who is importing the product on the basis of the power of attorney. And this power of attorney gives an importer a right to use the document either for a certain shipment or for a limited period of time. The application for the declaration of conformity consists of several steps, starting from choosing a subcontractor and finishing with the registration itself as a formal procedure. One of the important points is to collect the required technical documents for both make sure that you really need certification, and secondly, for the process itself. And for the beauty products, you need to provide the list of ingredients. Then to enlist who will be product users, if these users will be children. Then you will need a material safety data sheet. And for food supplements, it's very important that you need to prove that it's really food additive and not, for example, medicine, because for medicine, requirements are quite different. You will need a license, etc. And now I would like to go a bit in more details about the most critical aspects of certification from customs clearance and control procedure. The first one is the choice of subcontractors. In the past few years, the government has increased the inspection and control under the main players in the market of certification. These are the test laboratories, the certification authorities, and the number of these market players was significantly reduced because a number of them were dishonest. And actually, this could be a risk for an applicant if they deal with such subcontractors. The main thing is to make sure that, for example, the certification authority or the laboratory you work with, they are officially recognized by the government, and they can carry out the tests with particular products and to carry out a particular type of tests that are in the scope of their accreditation. And if the government states that the laboratory is, for example, of bad faith, then you have a risk that your document will be withdrawn. Another point, very important one, is the import of samples. The number of samples you need to import for testing is specified by the laboratory. They issue a letter that you will also need for the import procedure of these samples, and you need to import the samples in the exact number stated in this letter, not less, not more. The samples can be destroyed during the tests, but usually laboratories inform about this beforehand. And if the samples are not destroyed, you can use them after the tests, you can sell them, etc. Also, you need to import the samples separately. We don't recommend you to combine this shipment with the main shipment of your products. Firstly, because you will not be able to use this shipment to sell it until the tests are finished and the laboratory confirms that your product complies with local standards. Moreover, you will have only 45 days to carry out all the procedures required for certification, and it is also a risk that you will not manage to do all this within this time frame of 45 days. Another point is labeling, and here are actually two sides of this point. First is EAC labeling that is put on the product after you get a confirmation that your product complies with the standards in EA EU. Another one is labeling in general, the labeling of your product. It's very important that the labeling is correct, because otherwise the test laboratory may refuse to confirm that your product complies with the standards. And another point is that sometimes some retail chains have specific requirements for labeling. Then a good advice from us would be to confirm this labeling with retail chain stores, maybe have a trial shipment to avoid problems by larger shipments further import. And the last but not the least is the registration of the document itself. There was a significant change at the beginning of this year in this field. And this change is that the applicant of the declaration of conformity has to register the document itself. Before, it worked in a bit different way. Certification authorities usually register the document in the name of the applicant. It was not 100% correct, and as a result, the applicant had a wrong understanding that he is not responsible for anything, but actually the applicant is the only person who is responsible for the evidence base, for the accuracy of the information he provides, and so he bears all risks as well solely. And now I am coming to the end of my presentation. I would say that Schneider Group is always glad to support you when you are entering the market with import, with certification, any other aspects, and also during your doing business in Russia. So now I would like to give word to the next speaker. I suppose Ekaterina has not joined us. So I think it will be Daniel.
Yes, hi, Anastasia, I'm
Oh,
here.
sorry, Ekaterina. So I will give word to you.
Thank you. I had some problem with the connection because I'm connected now from a little bit strange place. I will show you because we have a commercial campaign here on the sea liner. So that's why first I have a little bit problems because we are in open sea and we had a little bit late. But now I'm here and everything okay. Is the most important thing. Thank you, Anastasia. I think I can start and we will talk about, thank you for your attention. And we talk about today about marketing, wellness and beauty products in Russia. I will share my presentation. Okay. Okay. It's very important today to speak about digital marketing in beauty sector because boom online sales in Russia planned for 2021 and 2022 because the beauty sector changed over time, especially during the current pandemic situation. What does it mean? It does mean that COVID-19 has managed to change their sector more than any other crisis. Before pandemic, about 85% of physical sales in beauty sector came from physical stores. But during the pandemic, about 30% of the physical stores in the premium segment closed with no chance of reopening. I think everybody knows the situation. And everybody was that we haven't any possibility to escape from our homes and our apartments, have to do a lot of online sales. And as we have a lot of free time, we used a lot of beauty products. According to study by the communication agency, media agency in Russia, 68% of women between 18 and 40 years old bought cosmetics online during quarantine. While 70% said they wanted to continue to do, but maybe they had some problems with online sales, with online side, and I will talk about, and I will speak why. I have not very long time, so I want to focus on how to use online tools to sell cosmetics in Russia and why that 10% of women had, for example, some problems with online acquisition. 4 points to follow a successful e-commerce of cosmetics. One is athletic interface. You know that beauty sector is not so different from fashion sector, and I think that it's more important even than fashion sector, because when we buy beauty, we want to be beautiful. It's obvious. So the design of a site must be impeccable. The beauty industry set particular stringent requirements for the design of e-commerce sites. You know that it's very simple to go to a physical shop and buy, for example, some cream, mask, or to try some lipstick. With online store, we haven't this possibility. So we need to know what color we like. It's more, we have more risk to buy something that we can't use then, because maybe the color is not so, not fit so much for our face. So for example, our website need to be better than even physical site where our client can buy lipstick they have never tried. For example, other thing that our website need to be very balanced in psychological meaning. All elements must be balanced with each other. Fonts and colors must be in harmony. Because, but in the same way, we need to put the attention of our client to some call to action. And in beauty sector, it's very very complicated. So as advice that I can give you about your website, you need to create a customer-friendly program where maybe they can get some samples for free, or maybe if they buy some lipstick online, they can get all the colors that will send to their home free. Other thing that's very important in beauty sector, and I think that is very important nowadays, it's making friends. What does it mean, making friends in beauty sector online store? These need to be available to the user. Because a lot of people nowadays that I used to use some famous brands for Lancome, Clinique, Dior, want to try something new. Something new can be vegan cosmetics, bio cosmetics, some cosmetics that helps environment, and we need to know very well our target. Because, for example, it's simpler to be focused on target, vegan target, for example, sell just vegan cosmetics that sell everything. If you're not Douglas, if you're not Rinascente, if you're not Sephora, if you're not Golden Apple, you can't open website and sell every brand you want. You need to focus on some target. And for example, vegan target in cosmetic in Russia can be very popular today because we haven't a lot of competitors. And it's very important to create even a relationship of trust between the seller and the buyer in the cosmetic industry. And you can invite also, if you are customer friendly, you can invite the user to subscribe to the newsletter or to buy, for example, egg products for a good case. For example, Natura Siberica, I think everybody knows this brand in Russia, is one of the most famous brands for biocosmetic. Created their product that it's called Let's Help the Taiga Together. And they even create a new brand for their cosmetic. Taiga is a forest in Russia. 1 ruble for each purchased products will help to renew the Russian conifer forests. Other thing that is very important, when we are entering in a beauty store, like Golden Apple, like Sephora, packaging is important, and you know this, especially for women. When we see a lot of bottles with creams, a lot of bottles with masks, we want to try it, we want to feel to smell it. And online store can't give us this possibility. So we need to create our site so eye-catching, attractive, that we want to buy every mask with easier. And here it's very important to create video and photo content. And also we need to have a significant, attractive description of what this product can give us. Because when we need to buy a night cream, example for me, I have a very problematic skin, and rarely I buy some new products for my face. I need to trust, for example, my beauty consultant. So your website need to be not just attractive with photo video content, but with textual content. When your client reads the description of the night cream, for example, your client needs to be sure what he's buying now. And it needs to be very descriptive, every ingredient, how can it be used, and what benefits it can give us. For example, as a description of our Clinique's most famous cream, I think every woman knows Moisture Surge Intense. It's a Clinique line. Our richest formula assesses non-stop hydration into motion with the help of activated yellow water and caffeine. Keeps skin hydrated for 72 hours, limit glowing, plump, and velvety smooth. A description, for example, is very attractive for me because I want to have a glowing, plump, and velvety smooth face. Not like now, for example, after commercial campaign. So I really sure if I will go to Sephora tomorrow, I will buy Clinique Moisture Surge Intense. Other thing that it's really important is simplicity and clarity. It's one of the most problems why that 10% of women hadn't buy some products online during the pandemic, because we have now we have the target that buy just offline beauty sector. So we need to help our clients to understand us better even online. For an e-commerce site, it's very important to allow buyers to search their products easily and to familiarize themselves with the entire range of products offered. For example, you can group products into sections: very dry skin, problematic skin, anti-aging products. You need to have clearly visible search bar with a sufficiently wide width, especially for mobile website, because like 55% of online sales in beauty sector comes here. I'll give you an example. I need 2 masks for my video troupe for 2 models. I'll find Sephora. We are now at Ibiza. I found Sephora online in Ibiza, where I can buy online masks and they can ship them to the Ibiza port. And I have bought it 2 days ago. And now I'm expecting my beauty box here on Sea Liner to get this mask for our video troupe. It's very simple. And it's a very problem-solving website. Then you have, I already told it, product ship with detailed description, video reviews, galleries, quality images. Other tips and tricks for sell your products, beauty products in Russia is influencer marketing. Almost 70% of online sales comes from beauty brand love influencers, about beauty opinion leaders. We have a lot of, and a very important point, there is a difference between lifestyle fashion influencers that are brand ambassadors. I see everybody watched the influencer campaign of Clarence. Clarence is one of the most used brands that use influencer marketing in Instagram with Russian bloggers. We have a little different with that kind of bloggers like brand ambassador and a real opinion leader in cosmetic. If we need to launch a new line of the brand, it's better use, for example, YouTube, because through YouTube, we had a lot of bloggers that made some interesting reviews about beauty sector. I put some interesting examples of campaigns here where they see a brand campaign like this Nasty Alex, it's Russian influencer with 173,000 followers. Is passionate about fashion and singing, and she is a brand ambassador of Saint Laurent and Valentino. Is some example of the posts of a brand ambassador, but not opinion leader, where she promote a new iconic red Valentino lipstick. Then we have Maria Tutsova. It's a Russian influencer, model, and speaker. And we can see the other kind of influencer campaign Dyson. In this campaign, we'll see not just a brand ambassador, but like a review of the product, how we use the product, and what is the result. This kind of campaign is more difficult because if your product is really trashy, you can't do this kind of marketing. So you need to be very sure that your product is really good, and you can engage a lot of influencers to make a beauty review. This kind of promotional posts are the most attractive, are the most functional, because the call to action of this product is selling. Other campaign is just brand engagement. And now I want to show you, I think in Russia everybody knows Karina. She is one of the most famous makeup artists, and she is an opinion leader. It's just not a blogger. She is a real opinion leader of the sector. And everything that she talks about, like in Borean Cosmetics, will be sold tomorrow the selling of these products will increase in like 50%. And this is the kind of opinion leader influencer marketing, because it's an influencer of the beauty sector. And then I'll show you some examples of the Russian brands campaigns. For example, if you want to see a good example of influencer campaign in beauty sector, I advise you to see Russian brands that working with the influencer. For example, here we see different Russian products and collaboration. For example, Beroska Lab with Pomadka Block. Pomadka Block is the other example of opinion leader of the sector. You can use as a good example for of the Russian brand best marketing example. It's Organic Kitchen, and this is the example of the launching of Bio Cosmetics. Is a launch that just with Russian influencers. Then Polina Ivanova. Other thing that I want to talk about, and I will finish my presentation, is smart beauty devices and some trends in beauty sector. In beauty innovation, digital transformation are crucial elements that technology-supported cosmetic brands will be able to transform this sector in years to come, because technology is just not arrived to tech sectors or the fashion sector, but to beauty too. For example, we refer in particular products that 3D scanning technologies, they help you analyzing skin. 3D scanning technologies for our hair that can be shipped to our home and to help us to buy products online. Latest innovation, for example, Shiseido, that launches Option, which offers a skincare customization service. You can buy Option that will advise you what to buy then online. So you had a kind of dermatologist at home. Other one is L'Oreal and Modiface. The using of the app for example, hair styling is very famous today. The same thing we can do with the app to how to choose the right makeup for our face. And the other thing that I want to talk about in beauty sector is very important packaging. Because everybody of us like to get some good boxes that smells good, that have a nice packaging, some gift box that we can prepare for the parent. And a lot of companies invest heavily in communication. Omnit a particularly important after sales element packaging. This packaging is like offline marketing, because if you done all of the previous steps in the right way, you can have your first sales. But if your packaging will be very trashy, you can forget about this customer. So because packaging creates an emotional contact with the customer and makes him even more satisfied and willing to repeat the purchase at the same company. And it's not very difficult, because if you are organic cosmetics, you can use wood boxes. If you work with teenagers, you can use some nice boxes and beauty bags. You can purchase, you can customize packaging, for example, from the initials. You can use bags suitable, reusable boxes, cases. You can use discount codes inside your packaging. And the most important thing is colors. You need to understand very well your target to use the colors in beauty sector. For example, if you use Bordeaux or violet or dark violet, they're good for anti-aging cosmetics. If you use some rose pattern, it's very useful for some perfumes or perfumes water. So my presentation comes to end. I think it was, I hope, I think, excuse me, I hope it was very useful for you. If you have any question, I am available. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Katerina. Thank you very much for your comprehensive presentation. We're going to move now to Daniel. Please, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you for introducing me. Hello to everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for attending this webinar. Let me show you my screen. I hope now you can see it. The topic of my presentations is legal aspects of interaction with Russian e-commerce platforms. As you can see on the slide, under the point 1 and 2, I will focus on the main topic, but besides this, I will also speak about legal aspects of targeting Russian consumers from abroad when selling goods through foreign websites. There are 3 groups of Russian e-commerce platforms in terms of accessibility for foreign sellers. There may be platforms that are fully open for foreign sellers and platforms that are fully or partially closed for foreigners. If you wish to work through a platform which is closed for foreigners, you may resort to one of the potential solutions that you can see on the right side of the slide. What are these potential solutions? First option is to establish a Russian company which will enter into a contract with a particular e-platform. I would like to briefly point out that the most common type of a company for small and medium businesses in Russia is a limited liability company, which has a range of advantages compared to other types of companies. Therefore, we recommend to consider this type of company in the first place. However, of course, each situation is unique and should be considered on an individual basis. Another option is to involve a Russian distributor who will buy out goods from you and then sell them through some e-platform on its own behalf. And finally, you can also find and involve a Russian agent who will act as a counterparty of a particular e-platform. But I should mention that this solution should be verified because probably there may be some e-platforms that do not work with agents. Let's move next. E-platforms offer various sales models from the point of view of legal relationships between the participants of this market interaction. The common thing for all models is that goods are placed on an e-platform and customers attend this platform, select some goods and order them through the e-platform. The first model is called agency model because e-platform acts as an agent of the seller, and the e-platform enters into a contract with the buyer. For example, this model is used by Ozon and Wildberries for Russian sellers, and they enter into contracts with buyers on the principal's behalf. The next model is services model. We call this model services model because the role of the e-platform is limited only to admission to the platform as a main service and some related services. But the contract of sale is entered into directly between the seller and the buyer. For example, such a model is used by AliExpress Russia for Russian sellers and by Ozon for foreign sellers. I will speak about Ozon's model and its standard contract a little bit later. Finally, there is a resale model when the e-platform buys out goods from the seller and sells them to buyers on its own behalf. This model is not typical for e-platforms. However, sometimes it can be used on an individual basis, for example, with regard to some luxury goods or some exclusive goods. Ozon is one of the platforms that work and is open for foreign sellers. And as an example, we would like to give you a brief overview of Ozon's standard contract for sellers published on Ozon's website. Ozon's contract for foreign sellers is based on the services model, which I have described previously, which means that Ozon acts as an agent of the seller and enters into contracts with buyers. This model is different from the model used by Ozon for Russian sellers, because when Ozon interacts with Russian sellers, it acts as an agent. But here, Ozon acts as only as a service provider, and the contract is entered into directly between the seller and the buyers. Ozon services include admission to the platform, technical support. Ozon accepts and payments from buyers and transfer them further to the seller, minus Ozon's fees for its services. Also, Ozon's ensures advertising and provides other services. Fees of Ozon consist of percentage from the selling price plus service fees. Buyers have two options for goods delivery. The first option is a regular delivery by postal service, and another option is express delivery by a company involved by the seller. Another important thing is that Ozon has a right to unilaterally amend the contract from time to time by publishing a new version on its website. This should be taken into consideration, of course. And finally, this contract is governed by Russian law. This is specified in the standard contract. The next part of my presentation will cover additional topic, which is not connected to selling goods through Russian e-platforms. In this part, I will speak about targeting Russian consumers from abroad when selling goods through foreign websites. And I want to speak about targeting Russian consumers from abroad. If a website is targeted at Russian consumers, the website owner, for example, it can be seller or some other party, it falls under Russian legislation on consumer protection, as well as Russian legislation on personal data protection. If we're talking about consumer protection laws, a website is considered as targeted at the RF if it has Russian version, prices are expressed in Russian rubles, Russian phone contact numbers are indicated, the seller increases website citation rate among Russian users, and other criteria. And if the website is considered targeted at the RF, Russian imperative consumer protection rules apply regardless of the law applicable to the contract between the seller and the buyer. For example, the seller wrote in his contract that it is governed by Australian law. This is okay, this is fine. But despite this, the consumer will be protected by certain Russian imperative rules, consumer protection rules, and this should be taken into account. If we are talking about data protection rules, a website is considered as targeted at the RF if the website has a Russian domain name, or there is a Russian version of the website coupled with payments in rubles, advertisement in Russian, or other circumstances evidencing that the website is targeted at the Russian audience. The owner of the website, which is targeted at the RF, will have to comply with the Russian personal data protection rules. First of all, when collecting personal data, the website owner will have to ensure the recording, systematization, accumulation, storage, clarification, and extraction of the RF citizens' personal data using databases located in the RF. This means that the personal data operator, as it is called in Russia, or controller, as it is called in other countries, will have to localize its servers when collecting personal data of Russian citizens. Another thing is that the personal data operator will have to obtain an appropriate consent for processing personal data, which is compliant with Russian standards, and it also has to publish personal data protection policy and information about the implemented requirements for the personal data protection. So when a foreign company does not have any office in Russia, it does not have a Russian website, but its foreign website targets Russian consumers, Russian consumer protection legislation, as well as Russian personal data protection legislation should be taken into account. So I would like to thank you for your attention. Please feel free to ask your questions. I will be happy to answer them. And now I would like to introduce the following speaker, Alexander Kalagin. He is a key account manager of Intershare.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can't see myself in the screen. Is this okay? Hello?
I don't think your screen is showing yet, Alexander.
Just let me check. I switched on my video and I switched on my sound.
I can see and hear you.
Irina?
Alexander, it seems to be fine.
Yeah, okay, anyway. Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for inviting myself to this webinar. First of all, I would like to apologize for Intercharm show brand director Rosa could not attend this webinar in person due to some force majeure issues. And let me shortly introduce the Intercharm Beauty Show to all of yours. I've already seen the questions in the chat. Thanks, Lamia, for arranging this. And I also appreciate what Daniel and Christopher and everyone already delivered. I'm here for not for the e-commerce, or for the offline show itself, because I do believe for the beauty industry show, whatever e-commerce happens, we maybe for some years through, or maybe decades, we will not do without the offline real physical shows, because, for example, how can you test the perfumes or test the skincare product itself? Anyway, Intercharm, Moscow, Russia, it's the regular beauty show. It's been on the stage since 1994. So this, the coming edition will be number 28 for all of us. And we are definitely in the top 5 beauty shows of the world, beating 3 Cosmoproфs and Beauty World Middle East Dubai, which just finished yesterday. We are amongst them, first of all, for the number of visitors, for the space of exhibitors. It has always been for the last, say, 15, 20 years, and we are really proud. We were the only beauty show out of the top 5 in the world, which had already 2 editions in the last COVID times, which was October 2020. It was the only beauty show in the world which we held offline. And also we had the Interchange Professional Edition in April. I hope God helps us and everything goes smoothly. So far, we're in the final preparation stage for the coming October show to start on October 27 here in Moscow, for which we already have contracts signed and deposits paid and everything arranged for 450 exhibitors from 18 countries of the world. I'm in charge of key accounts and of international sales, and I'm proud to announce that we'll have 17 countries, apart from Russia, presented with official pavilions of Brazil, Germany, Japan, Korea, China, Poland, Turkey, and individual companies from Europe, from States, even from Singapore, which is not that far from Australia. I already told this to my colleagues before starting the webinar. It is my real dream to have Victoria Pavilion or Australia Pavilion in the Interchange offline edition. Let's hope for 2022. And answering many questions in the chat, this is exactly what the show offline in Moscow is about, because it's the biggest show for all CIS countries territory, and it's a real must to attend event for all the key beauty players, not only from Russia, but from Ukraine, Belarus, Armenia, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, whatever you can remember from the ex-USSR countries. And what we do guarantee, we bring a 90+% of the key players physically to the show. And definitely during the 4 days of the show, we have, each edition has 4 days of the show. It will be the best chance for you to meet the distributors, to meet individual buyers. Also, we arrange special event. It's called Read Connect by the name of Read Exhibitions, or Retail Connect Summit. It's since 2015 we started this. It's the 2 days event on the show stage in one of the halls, which is for meeting with the retailers already what was named today, like Golden Apple or Podrushka or Ashan or whatever, or Magnet Cosmetics, the key players of Russian beauty market, also including Ozone. They are our regular customers for this event. This is face-to-face matchmaking directly with the companies. And the good news for you is about that the Russian markets of cosmetics, I mean, by the Russian producers, Russian manufacturers, is more or less scrutinized by everyone. And each of these companies, when preparing to the show and to this Retail Connect Summit, they are asking me personally, Alex, we know almost everyone in Russia or in the neighboring countries. We definitely need fresh blood. Where can it come from? Definitely from abroad only. And this is a good chance for all you guys to join the Russian and CIS beauty markets. Definitely, you have the privilege of being unknown so far. It's a real privilege, believe me. And I will put it shortly. Once again, you're all most welcome for the Interchange 2022, and either as individual companies or hopefully as a part of Victoria or Australia Pavilion.
Thank you, Alexander.
I'm always here, and I'm ready to answer any questions in the chat or physically. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. We're looking forward to discuss offline the opportunity and the potential to bring a delegation, once the borders are open in Australia, and where we can lead a delegation to Russia and Moscow. We believe Russia and neighbor countries has a significant demographic and population that where we could have opportunity for our companies. I know that we have already passed the 60 minutes for today, but I think there is quick questions where we we would like to ask them on behalf of the Victorian companies and maybe have some answers. And also, I would like to take the opportunity to thank all the speakers for their comprehensive presentation and the valuable information they shared with us today, where we will also forward it to the Victorian companies on our website and also by email for those who couldn't attend the webinar or had to leave the webinar earlier. Christopher, I think there's a few questions, and one of them was related to food supplement. My understanding is at the moment there's embargo on importing food and beverages from Australia and Europe into Russia. But does the food supplement comes under that embargo, or that's something separate as a called like a vitamins or good food supplement?
I think this is a perfect question for Anastasia, because she is in our import and certification department doing this on a daily basis. Anastasia, maybe your brief comment to that.
Sorry, colleagues, I think it's something with the connection.
Well, but we hear you, it's quite fine.
So once again, I was speaking about the questions about Russian FDA or from Ms. Chen, Jennifer Chen, or another
Okay,
one?
there was two questions. One
Yes.
is, we know that the Australian and European and US food and beverage products are not allowed to come into Russia at the moment. There's embargo on food products, but do you count the food supplement or vitamins as part of this category from a Russian perspective?
Yeah, thank you for the question. As for the food supplements, at the moment, there is no embargo, so there are no restrictions for the import. Another thing, sorry, one more important thing I would like to add. Actually, there will be one interesting change coming. I think maybe within a year it will be finished and come into force, that such products as food supplements will need special labeling. It's data matrix labeling in our system, local system, that is used for tracing the goods while during the import, after then selling locally. And the main aim is to prevent some illegal import. So not meeting certification requirements and standards requirements and so on. Yes, it's for this question.
And the other question was regarding the skincare products. Do they require approval by the local Russian authorities similar to FDA to approve to get skincare products, or you can supply them just with the normal certification?
Okay, also thank you for this question. In general, I also partially mentioned this in the presentation, that this product fall under sanitary and epidemiological control. And as if we are speaking about food supplements and cosmetic products, regardless of what type of cosmetic product it is, but it's aimed for children, you need this confirmation from sanitary and epidemiological state authorities in the form of the document is called Certificate of State Registration. If we're speaking about skincare products, in general, it is not this type of document is required, another one. But we should look maybe in more details, because in general, products that are used for washing, they may also require this Certificate of State Registration. So we need to look in more details here.
Okay.
Maybe
thank you.
No problem.
Shortly add, so in case any company is interested to understand the certification requirements or the export requirements to Russia, just let us know maybe then in the follow-up, and then we can simply answer one by one of these companies.
So just one major question, which part of the presentation today from Anastasia, that Schneider can act as importer, as mentioned, or as a service provider. Can we just maybe clarify what does mean act as an importer? Obviously, you don't have a commercial logistic to supply or distribute, but how do you act as an importer? And how can you help our companies? Because most of them, they will be exporting their products, not willing to set up a business or a private business into Russia. Or maybe that Anastasia can maybe highlight an answer on this one.
Well, I think I can answer the question quite briefly, as we have to look also on the time. So as we mentioned before, to import to Russia, you need to have a Russian legal entity in place. who this is a little bit open because there are various options. This could be your customer. This could be a distributor. We can support, for example, to find the correct distributor and so on, that you know with whom you're working. Or the Schneider Group also is a legal entity in Russia. It can be Schneider Group. Means that we can import from Australia and then resell it, or being the authorized representative in the country for the Australian company, which means that the Australian company does not have to register a legal entity in Russia, because this is cost, this is so some OPEX involved, which is simply not necessary.
Oh, very good, very good. And another question about the labeling. I'm aware that you can't hide the original label and ingredients, and of course most of the products, they require Russian language on the label, and at the beginning maybe won't have the volume for our companies to put full Russian label, because maybe they export to multiple countries and already there's a lot of languages on it. Is the stickers accepted by the local authority to have on a skin care products, and how usually it works?
I think, Anastasia, this is also related to your presentation.
So if I understood your question correctly, it was about if the labeling can be not in a Russian language, Kasim, was it?
Yeah,
was it
correct. And whether it's required Russian language, can you put an additional stickers in Russian language, or that's not acceptable when you import products?
Actually, it's very important that products have Russian labeling. We can assist with this, actually with both, with checking the labeling beforehand. It can be actually combined as a step for certification, by the way, because we can also check this together with the official authorities, certification authorities, because as I mentioned also, the product may not pass the tests because they also check the labeling. And you import the samples and they see what the labeling is. We can help with the translation of this labeling so that they are just printed and beforehand.
Okay, the second part of the question, can it be just a sticker on the original labeling?
So if it can cover the original one, yeah. I think we need to check this because I think I cannot answer you immediately.
No problem. Yeah. No problem. No problem. Now, as conscious of time, I want to thank you all. Thank you, Christopher, Anastasia, Daniil, Alexander, and Katerina, and Lamia as well. And also a big thanks to our participants for having the time today. I know it's a bit already past 6 p.m. In Melbourne at the moment. Please forward your questions to Lamia or directly to our guest speakers today, and they will be more than happy to answer them. And also, we would like more than happy to say that this is a first series of webinar we're doing on Russian market, and we're looking forward to have in the next steps where we can invite some of the major online platforms in Russia to engage and give us their insights and their requirement for companies to register their products on their online platform. Thank you very much again. Thanks, Christopher and the team. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.